Elizabeth at Literary Princess. If you are new here, welcome. I'm a fifth-year PhD candidate in English literature with a focus on Victorian women novelists. And if you can't tell from the degree and the BookTube channel, I love to read, and I love to share what I am reading and hear about what other people are reading. Today I have a currently reading video for you. And I'm reading 4 books, which I've been so good since the start of the year. Like, it's only 3 months, but you know, about only reading like 2 or 3 books at a time. Generally, in the past year, I was reading like sometimes 5 books at the same time, and it was too much. So I was like, let's be more realistic in 2024 and just calm down. However, I'm now reading 4 books, and that is because I'm filming this on Friday. On Tuesday morning, I woke up unable to move my neck, like at all. It is slowly getting better. Yay, I can move. It's great. But because I couldn't move my neck, I really couldn't read, because reading involves having my neck tilted down or like laying at an angle, and I just couldn't do any of that. So I started an audiobook, which brought me up to 4 reads. It's fine. It's fine. All of these books are very different from each other, so it's not like I'm going to be getting them confused with each other at all. And I mean, I needed something to be reading even while I couldn't move my neck, because I wanted to read, because it's my favorite thing to do, especially to kind of wind down and relax after getting home from work. So let's jump in. The first book I'm reading is actually one that I started in February for the event Feb Regency, which is all about reading books from and about the Regency period. This is Sister Novelists, the trailblazing Porter sisters who paved the way for Austen and the Brontes by Devani Looser. This is a literary biography of Jane and Anna Maria Porter, who were 2 women novelists in the Regency period who were very, very popular, but have been kind of forgotten about. So that is right up my alley. I focus on women writers who have kind of been forgotten, but in the Victorian period for my research. But I love the whole 19th century. I love the late 18th century too. I am adoring this. I am about halfway through. I'm actually technically more than halfway through, because the point I'm counting, it includes the notes, and there's quite a lot of notes. So as you can see, I'm like halfway-ish, but all of this is notes, so I am more than halfway. And I just am enjoying this so much. It is definitely going to be a 5-star read. It is going to be right up there with Juliet Barker's The Brontes and Megan Marshall's Margaret Fuller, A New American Life, which are 2 of my absolute favorite literary biographies, and just pieces of nonfiction in general. This is going to be joining them. Looser has made me feel like I know these women so intimately, and their whole family. They just come off the page, and part of that is because of how many letters and diary entries they left behind, which Looser quotes from quite liberally. But Looser's also just a fantastic storyteller, and she is building these women and all the people they know as characters, and she is just making me feel like I know them. And I never even heard of them before picking up this book. So that is really something. And I cannot wait to read their novels now, because, I am enjoying this so much. I would highly recommend it to anybody thinking of picking it up. It is so worth it. The next book is one that has been on my shelves for a really long time, and that I decided, you know what, it's time to pick this up. This is We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Berry. So this is set in 1989 in the town of Danvers, Massachusetts. And now why this is fun for me is because I am from one of the neighboring towns. This book actually opens with this team of field hockey players from Danvers playing the high school of my town, which I did not go to because I went to a private school. But so I am like seeing all these references to things that I literally just grew up with. Like, they're talking about the Liberty Tree Mall, which is where I always went to the mall growing up and went to the movie theater. They're talking about certain streets, and I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about, and certain landmarks, and it's just so much fun for me. So much fun. So that is why I initially bought this book, because I was like, Danvers! But also because, so this field hockey team of mostly girls, but also one boy, and his name is Boy Corey, because they also have a girl Corey. And they have been spectacularly losing throughout all their other years. And so it starts in the summer with them at a sports camp, and they decide we don't want to lose anymore. And one of the girls had found in the library some information about the Salem witch trials, and they decide that they're going to make a pact with forces of darkness so that they can win their field hockey games. I'm so here for it. I love like witchy stuff. And again, so Danvers was Salem Village back in the 1600s. Salem Village is where most of the people involved in the Salem witch trials were from. They were then brought to Salem Town, which is now the town of Salem, for the trials, but most of the people came from Salem Village, which changed its name to Danvers. And I have ancestors who were involved in all of that. So this is super interesting for me. I have ancestors on both sides, actually. People who were accused and people who were doing the accusing. So this is super fun for me. One of the girls on the field hockey team, Abby Putnam, is a descendant of the Putnams who were involved in the accusing of the witches. I am also descended from the Putnams. So this is just super fun for me. I'm having a grand old time. I also, even though I'm not a sports person, for some reason I really enjoy reading about sports teams in fiction like this. It's just something about like the bonding and like the close relationships. Because it's not, like, they talk about field hockey, obviously, but it's not about the sport. It's, like, about these relationships. It is told in first person plural, so we, and I'm loving it so much. I'm only, like, 80 pages in right now of a, like, 300 and something page book. Yeah, 350-ish. But already it is just so interesting, and we're getting these looks into every member of the team's lives and all their secrets, all their family history. It's just so interesting, and I cannot wait to see how this is going to play out, because I think it's going to be really good. And the third book that I am reading is my George Eliot project read for the month, and that is Middlemarch. I have referred to this book as my nemesis since I read it back, I think, in 2021, and really didn't like it. However, I'm enjoying it more this time. I still think it's really badly paced, especially coming off of just reading Romola and Felix Holt the Radical, which I thought were really well paced. Now we're back to poorly paced. So I don't think this is going to be a favorite, but I think it will probably be in the 4-star range. This follows the town of Middlemarch and several marriages within the town of Middlemarch, mainly Dorothea Brooke, who's an idiot. I didn't like Dorothea the first time I read this. I still don't like her. I'm just like, girl, why are you dumb? You're dumb. Dumb. Dorothea, like I said, is an idiot. She ends up marrying this man who's basically old enough to be her father. She's like in her early 20s, and he is... They act like he's ancient. He's only like 47, which I think is really funny because they're talking about him like he is half in the grave already. And then it's like, they're talking about how he's older than 45, but he's not 50 yet. I'm like, that's not even old, people. Still too old for her, but I'm like, it's not that old. They're talking about how decrepit he is. I'm like, oh. But, and then also the marriage between, and I'm not even gonna try to say his first name because I don't know. But Mr. Lydgate, who is a doctor who is new to town, and Rosamund Vincy, who is the daughter of the mayor. And then we also have the relationship between Rosamund's brother, Fred Vincy, and his childhood sweetheart, Mary Garth, who is the best character in this whole book. So there is really a lot going on. There's some political stuff going on. There's some inheritance things going on with this man named Mr. Featherstone, who is a jerk, and he's just a jerk. He's dead at the point I'm in right now, but he's still a jerk. And that's complicating things. There have been several people with health problems, and Dorothea is realizing that she's made a grave mistake in marrying Mr. Casaubon, who's this man that is like 30 years older than her. She married him because she thought he was this great scholar, and she thought she could help him do something great and like be supportive of him. She wanted to be like what Milton's daughters were to Milton, like supporting him when he was blind and couldn't write his own stuff down, which is a whole thing. Dorothea, what is wrong with you? She's realizing, oh crap, this is not the relationship I wanted. And yeah, I am halfway through this. I'm enjoying it much more than the first time I read it. I think it's not going to be able to be called my nemesis anymore, but you know, there's still another like 400 pages to go. I'm reading this for March of the Mammoths because this is a mammoth over 800 pages. But yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot more. It's a lot easier than it was the first time I read it. I don't know if that's because I'm just so used to reading George Eliot now, because I've been reading her fiction in publication order for over a year now, or just that it's easier reading it the second time. I have no idea, but I'm definitely liking it more. The fourth and final book I'm reading is my audiobook, and this is Spare by Prince Harry. You know, I wasn't sure if I wanted to read this. I'm not like huge into the royal family or anything, but they're intriguing, mainly because they're a hot mess. And I liked The Crown, and like, you know, I like some drama, especially some real life drama. So I saw that Libby had this available. I get my audiobooks through Libby with my library. I was like, you know what? It's narrated by Prince Harry himself, which I find really interesting, and it's definitely adding an extra layer to this experience. I'm only 2 hours in to the 15-hour book, and so I can't really judge too much. We are in the aftermath of Princess Diana's death. So we started with Harry as an adult just recently, with the death of Prince Philip and him going to the funeral and meeting up with his brother William and his father Charles, who's somehow now the King of England. Okay. Anyway. And trying to talk through some of the issues that they have had, because in case you're not aware, Harry and his wife Meghan Markle with their child just like up and left the royal family and moved, I think, to Canada, and have like been kind of vocal about how there was a lot of racism towards Meghan, who is mixed race, and their children, and there were just a lot of problems. Unsurprising to anybody who has ever witnessed anything with these people. So now Harry is telling his side of the story, And based on what he is writing so far, it kind of seems like he just is using this book to try to be like, okay, family, here's my issues. Here it all is. Here's why. Was that the best vehicle to do this in? Like a super public... I don't know. That's not my business. I am just along for the ride. Again, I'm only 2 hours in, so we haven't really gotten into... I mean, I say that, but like we've had the death of his mother, because right from the funeral, we flash back into the death of Diana. And already I'm like, somebody needs to get this guy therapy. The royal family just seems so emotionally repressed that it's unbelievable. Like, his mother has just died and they're already kind of trying to get back to normal and like sending him back to school. I don't know. So far it's really interesting. I like that Harry's narrating it because it feels like he's the one telling his story, even though I'm sure he had a ghostwriter, but I can't really say more other than that because I'm not far in at all, but I'm intrigued, and I think this is providing an interesting glimpse into the royal family. Now, whether or not Harry is a reliable source, technically nobody's a reliable source because we all remember things differently. And the way I experience something is different from the way my brother experienced something, or the way our father experienced something, or the way our cousins experienced something. So I'm sure there's a lot of that going on too. I'm sure William would have a different take on things. But I think this is Harry's emotional truth. And I think in a lot of ways that's more important than what actually happened, because this is how he experienced what happened and how it has affected him emotionally, and how basically how it has shaped him as a person. So definitely interesting. I can't wait to listen to more of it and find out more. I'm like, come on, get to the real drama. Like, even though Diana's death is definitely pretty dramatic, but they're kind of like, they're not like dealing with it. It's just this poor kid who's alone to deal with it. I feel very bad for him. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I feel bad for him. I'm interested to see what else this Hot Mess Express has in store for me. So those are the books that I am currently reading. Let me know down in the comments below, have you read any of them? What did you think? What are you currently reading? Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you enjoyed this and want to see more of my bookish content, please hit that subscribe button. It has been great chatting with you. I will see you soon. Bye.